Si ready na. Okay. Okay, ready na po. One, two, three. A bright and colorful day, listeners, and welcome to
The
Pride and No Prejudice podcast. I am Charles.
And I am Denise, and today we will be your hosts. So, kung nanood kayo ng previous episodes namin, we already discussed first yung healthcare and the LGBTQ plus community, wherein we sat down with Sir Alvin, isang nurse at LGBTQ plus and HIV awareness advocate. This was followed by an interview with Dr. Lani Nicodemus, Director of the Gender Office of our university, wherein we talked about the SOGI bill and the behavioral aspects and perceptions of society on the LGBTQ plus community.
So kung napansin nyo, our first two episodes focus heavily on more technical topics. Ngayon naman, we will go a little closer to home and talk about gender sensitivity from the point of view of a peer figure, aka someone na halos kasing age lang natin. Kaya wag na nating patagalin pa. Let's now introduce our guest speaker for this episode.
Today, we are going to interview Mr. Riem Dante, the chairperson of UP College of Medicine's Once True Nature Society, an advocacy-based, service-oriented organization and support group that focuses on issues concerning gender and health.
We are very honored to interview you today. Before we begin the interview, can you briefly tell us about your experiences as chairperson of the organization? Like, ano po yung mga usual activities, common concerns, or problems encountered?
Okay, so thanks for that very generous introduction. Yes, oo. Actually, UP Once True Nature Society is a LGBT advocacy-based organization which focuses on providing safe spaces sa mga members na LGBTQ community sa ating college, sa UPCM. And advocacy-based siya in a sense na since yung focus namin is more on LGBTQ health, so we get to delve more on that. But first and foremost, it's a safe space for everyone, regardless of SOGI, gano'n. So pwede rin yung mga allies natin, kahit hindi members ng LGBT community. Some problems siguro, I think very vibrant naman ang culture ng OTN ngayon. I guess some problems lang is, feel ko matatakal din later, is may stigma pa rin kasi ng like people can be very open with their sexuality or their gender preferences like online or with their friends. Pero when it comes to advocacy work, doon na nagkakaroon ng disconnect siguro. So yon, parang minsan they're out but not that out to be member of an advocacy organization. Ayun. So that's some of the issues lang that we're encountering right now. But usually hindi naman very maganda naman yung nangyayari sa org namin and very we're alive and well. Okay.
Pero kayo po, in your opinion, ano po yung parang important struggles or di kaya po experiences ng LGBTQ plus members na parang hindi po masyado alam ng mga tao because there's the usual things and kayo po?
Okay, I think yung mga usual na alam natin siguro sa ating sa mga peers natin or even with ourselves, ganon, is yung hirap ng coming out, ganon. Kasi yun yung nakikita natin sa mainstream media. Pero I think the reality of coming out, kasi a lot of what we see on mainstream media is positive, yung outcomes, like sa mga BL series, ganon. Like, wow, tanggap agad, ganon. Like, wow, anak, like I've always known, ganon. How we wish na ganon for everyone. Ayun, pero kasi ngayon makikita natin na hindi lahat ng kasi if negative experience hindi mo naman kasi siya i-publicize, hindi mo siya i-post. What's not commonly seen or not commonly known by many is marami pa ring cases ng domestic abuse, ganon. Some are financially cut off, pinapalaya sa bahay. So see na very prevalent pa rin yung mga ganon. Hindi lang natin nakikita. And ang sad kasi they get swept under the rug na people are celebrating, oh, we're very LGBTQ plus inclusive na. Pero people are still getting left behind. Ayun. That's just one part of the struggle. Being part of the community, hindi naman sa special kami or what, pero it provides unique challenges din. Like for example, a lot of when you're part kasi ng community, it predisposes you to some behaviors na would might be risky sa paningin ng iba, ganon. And hindi lang siya on a health basis, pero on a safety basis din talaga. Like, yung pagiging at risk of predatory behavior, ganon. Kasi may mga people talaga who will take advantage of people who are in their very vulnerable state. So that's some of the things na don't really get addressed on mainstream media.
So, ayun po. So, simula pa lang po, meron po tayong like loaded question. So, in relation doon sa sinabi niya na may mga predisposition po tungkol sa LGBTQ plus community, may notion po na pag being a member of the LGBT plus community is wrong or something to be cautious about. So, ano po sa tingin niyo yung opinion niyo on that paniniwala? Kasi po madalas po, people refuse to talk about these issues.
Okay, I think it comes from I think focus that let's give it a name, the hate, the LGBTQ hate. It comes from something na from a place of, I dare say, ignorance. Kasi a lot of the cases talaga, people hate what they don't know, or people fear what they don't know. Sometimes maybe it can come from a place of care na. For example, some parents would say na, I care about you so much kasi ayaw kitang maging subject sa discrimination, ganon. Pero kasi na-impede yung acceptance in that regard, yung progress natin in that regard. And may mga people na takot, it comes from a place of fear kasi being part of the community kasi, it's a deviance from the norm, di ba? Like, it disrupts the status quo. And a lot of them, I don't wanna name names, of course, and I don't wanna, sila, basta, like, the powers that be na, especially in our country, na very influential, they benefit from the status quo. And us in the community existing and disrupting that normalcy, it threatens them. Kaya may repression na nagaganap. Sinasabi nila na, oh no, we're scared of our family, we're scared na ma-influence yung mga anak namin, ganon. Pero that's not like regardless if you suppress it or not, LGBT people will come out of regardless kung kahit parehong straight yung parents, di ba? Like, there will always be LGBTQ people throughout the ages, throughout the centuries. Makikita mo yan sa mga history books natin. So, ayun, it's sad na may mga ganun pa rin, even at this day and age. And makikita natin ngayon sa mga discussions, especially recently sa SOGI Equality Bill, na akala natin accepted na, pero makikita mo, ang laki ng pushback. To think na equality bill pa lang yan, ha? Sobrang behind na tayo compared to other countries. Ayun. So, yun for that question.
So, yun nga. So, parang clear po na medyo on the fence pa rin po yung general state. Pero, in line with the previous question po, there may be factors nga po that make people hesitant to embrace their identity po as a member of the LGBTQ plus community. So, kayo po, do you have any advice for the people who struggle, like, who have not yet come out? Yun po.
Okay. Actually, na-point out ko na later, di ba? Ay, kanina, di ba? Na some people na kilala ko na part ng LGBTQ community na hindi pa rin ready to be out. Ganon. Even out sila on some aspects. But I get kasi na may mga factors talaga. As I said kanina, yung threat of discrimination, yung threat of abuse, yung threat of being financially, yes, safety, financially and economically cut off by your family. Hello, ako, it took me, I mean, for someone na medyo, quote-unquote, halata na, since I was a kid, it took me, years pa to be brave enough to, talk about it with my family. And actually, I didn't even come out. I was forced out nung high school, which is very unfortunate. Pero ayun, it takes time. It takes time. And kasi makikita natin, ideally sana, as parents, di ba? Ideally sana, the love is unconditional. Pero it's not kasi. And to be fair, not defending them, pero to be fair, putting yourself sa shoes ng mga parents of LGBTQ children, may shock factor din kasi talaga na parang this is new to me, what am I supposed to do? And a lot of them negative yung nila, yung may pushback from them. I think put yourselves in their shoes, and it really helps. Yung tinatawag natin na I call it exposure therapy. I think, kasi if you look at it, if you observe, medyo mas madaling mag-come out for people na mas nakikita na before. Yung tendencies to be gay, to be a lesbian, to be trans, ganon. So, it helps din the parent to adjust to para hindi rin biglaan. Pero of course, ideally, 'di ba, whatever your child chooses to be or chooses to live as, you're there to support them. Your love should be unconditional. Pero for you, if ever man na nagbabalak ka na, maybe I can come out na, ganon. Maybe you can ease it in. Ganon. Kasi tao lang din naman sila, and they also need the time to adjust with regards to that. Ayun.
Gusto ko lang pong i-point out na like relate dun sa forced out. Like ako po honestly, siguro not necessarily, but like yung katulad po ng exposure therapy, like ako po like nung well, oh my gosh, ever since I was a little birdie. So, like ano po talaga, like effeminate, opo, gano'n. So gusto ko like curious lang po ako, like ano po yung like difference ng paano po yung pag-come out dati sa iba na po kasi ngayon, like we're equipped with new knowledge. So ano po yung nakikita yung trend siguro na difference ng pag-come out from before and today?
Okay, good question actually. Kasi napapansin ko yan recently. To be fair, to give props naman to our parents, I think recently, should I say mas madali? I think mas maraming instances lang na nakikita na, mga success stories, nakikita natin sa social media, lalo sa TikTok, di ba? May hagulgulan pa na, tayo, bading po ako, gano'n, tagap kita nak, ayun. Kasi, parang, as I said kanina, put yourself sa shoes ng parents mo. Ngayon mo lang din kasi nakikita yung gano'n, of parents accepting their children. So before, kasi yung common sa kanila is tinatakwil yung mga anak nila. So parang ano yung gagawin nila pag naging parent na sila? Siyempre, they're probably gonna emulate the same things. So maganda ngayon na na-expose. Ayun, is part din kasi ng exposure therapy. It's very unintentional, pero na-expose din sila through social media, through mainstream media, na being part ng LGBTQ community is actually okay and very understandable. And na as a parent, may choice ka, or rather may obligation ka to be accepting of your child. Ayun. So I'm very sorry that happened to you. That happened to us, pero ayun lang. Yeah. Well, it's something na we can't control, but I think it made us stronger. Would you say? Yes. True, oo, ayun.
Thank you po for that wonderful answer. So, ito naman po, question for the allies. So, kung ally ka, but not necessarily part of the LGBTQ plus community, as you said po, meron po bang boundary yung terms? Like, at some point, do some terms become borderline offensive if hindi ka member mismo ng community?
Okay. Actually, yung usapan ng terms, ayan, let's call them what they are, slurs. 'Di ba? Very deep yan and heavy and may historical ano yan. And ako personally, as someone na babad din sa social media, nakikita ko yan, yung mga discussions regarding that. And hindi lang naman sa atin, hindi lang naman sa LGBTQ community kulob yan. I think yung isang common ngayon, of course, yung N-word sa mga African Americans, ganon. Yung R-word sa mga people with learning delays, ganon. Always, in all ways, lagi mong tatanungin yung sarili mo before using a term na alam mong controversial, is this gonna hurt people? Is this appropriate for me to say? Kasi may mga terms that were used before as a way to weaponize yung mga words nila, or they're used to hurt others. Like yung mga slurs natin, yung F-word, di ba? Dati talagang i-hurl nila yan sa'yo kasi nga different ka, iba ka, gano'n. And nakikita natin kasi ngayon na normalize siyang ginagamit kasi people in the community are taking it back. 'Di ba? We're reclaiming that term. Ayun, tama. We're reclaiming the terms. And as an ally or as a person outside the community, I think understanding na lang siguro na it's not for you to reclaim, na if manggaling sa'yo, baka masakit pa rin marinig. Kasi hindi ka naman part ng community. Actually, even people within the community, like internally, kung magsasabihan niya ng tapos hindi mo naman super close, kahit bading pa yan, di ba? Kahit bading pa yan, tapos sasabihan ako ng effort para ma-offend ako, sino ka, di ba? Di ba? You can, lagit-lagi, you have to think of it na, may masasaktan ba sa sasabihin ko? Appropriate ba to? And always, you have to think like, may alternative ba for that term? Kasi, di ba, let's be careful na lang. Let's be mindful na lang of what people might feel. Regardless of what we feel, importante kasi what they feel. Na we don't want them to feel na tayo ay parang against sa kanila. Ayun. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
So yun, medyo helpful po yun kasi personally minsan ako naman po, like no, I don't use the terms. Oh my God! Hindi po, not the slurs. Like minsan, because nagkakaroon ng confusion sa pronouns kasi like, it's a new thing. So minsan, it slips my mind. So like, oh my gosh. So ang take ko na lang po doon is always ask. Like if you're not sure if you're gonna hurt someone, always ask. Like that's the goal. Because like, it won't hurt you naman to ask what they're comfortable with. Because like, it takes just a few words. Pero ayun po.
If I may add lang, and what you said, like asking, di ba? Like, if you're comfortable to say that word, di ba? To say that term in front of that person, I think mas comfortable ko to ask first kung comfortable sila with that. Ayun, good reminder.
So ayun naman po. In relation to the previous question, may advice nga po ba kayo on how to deal with that confusion? Because, for example, sa genderbread, may technical words there, and may advice po ba kayo for the allies who struggle with that aspect?
Actually, may advice ako for myself. Wala for myself. No, kasi kailan ba ako na-expose sa ganyang terminologies or theories? I think college lang din. I think I was third year, second year college nung nalaman ko yung SOGSC. Like, what even is that? Ano, sexual orientation? May orientation pala, hindi ako aware. Hindi ako naka-attend. Ayun. So, parang, actually, hindi lang dyan. Even with some concepts, like for example, activism, ganon. I think itong nabasa ko somewhere or sinabi sa akin somewhere, no one is born aware of the terms. No one is born being an activist. Lagi tayo work in progress. Ang important lang talaga is very open tayo to learn from that. Even ako na I am the chairperson and I've been an advocate for how many years, I still get confused sometimes. Kailangan ko ring i-review, ganon, yung mga terminologies, yung genderbread man natin, how do you properly explain it. Pero kasi, yung isang issue dyan is parang, huwag tayong makulong sa labels, ganon. The genderbread man is there for us to express, to vocalize what we feel inside ourselves na nahihirapan tayong explain sa others, or what you things you want to ask, nahihirapan kayong put into words, 'di ba? So wag tayong makulong, and don't let it limit us. It's a guide. It's not very strict, and it's not a hard and fast rule that we have to it's important lang na alam natin na very kasi if you some encapsulate it, makikita mo na at the baseline, it just says na very fluid ng gender. And there are so many possibilities, and you don't have to memorize them all. No one's requiring, wala naman exam na tatanungin ka, ano yung flag ng mga demisexual, ganon, ano yung, saan attracted ang mga pansexual, ganon. Pero it helps to know that, for example, my friend ka who identifies, magka-come out siya sa'yo, uy, Denise, uy, Charles, I gave it a lot of thought, and I'm actually coming out as pansexual, ganon. And bonus kung alam mo immediately kung what it entails, ganon, how to address them with that information. Pero as friends, I think hindi nila mamasamain if you ask na, what does that mean? Can you refresh us, ganon? Or you can search on your own, ganon. Kasi sometimes nakakapagod din naman mag-explain. Ayun. Make sure lang that the approach is very understanding, and it comes from a place of empathy. Ganon. No one's holding you up for not being familiar, like on the spot. Hindi to quiz, hindi to board exam question na kailangan mong i-memorize. Ayun. You have to get the essence lang of it, and you have to get the lesson na kailangan na very diverse ang community natin. And the fact na, I think, I just wanna clarify din pala one thing, na people get confused kasi na parang, ano ba yung Soji SC na yan? Na parang, di naman ako relate dyan, like straight naman ako, gano'n. That's wrong. That's wrong, ha? Oo, kasi people are scared. Sinabi mong Soji Equality Bill, people are scared na parang, ano yan, so madi-discriminate kami mga straight, gano'n. No! The gays are taking over, gano'n. I'm clutching my pearls, yes. No! Soji SC, everyone has Soji. Kahit mga straights natin na allies, meron kayong Soji, everyone. Like, that's why we have our transgenders, which are different from their sex assigned at birth. And we have our cisgenders na tinatawag natin, or what we call straights, na in tune yung kanilang, what they perceive as their gender identity with their sexual identity, sex assigned at birth. Diba? So everyone has Soji. And passing this law, supporting these causes, benefits everyone. Kasi you never know na mali mo one of these days ma-realize mo na kasi wala namang age limit ang pag-come out. You never know, one of these days you might realize pala no, you're attracted to not just the opposite sex, diba? To whomever you may think. So it really benefits to be empathic in this aspect. Ayun.
Thank you po. Actually, like, salamat po sa mga pag-encourage po on learning, kasi yun naman po talaga yung pinaka-important. So, for the next question, marami pong nagsasabi na gay-friendly daw po ang Philippines. Personally, I blame this on media consumption. So, pero in your opinion po, do you think na Filipinos are truly accepting, or is it just tolerance?
Actually, tama yung sinabi mo about sa mainstream media na iniisip ko rin to recently. Parang recently may nakita ako na I think this is a dancing category. Tapos may males, may females. Tapos may tinatawag silang third kind. Tapos nag-viral siya kasi yung third kind, nakakatawa yung mga nila. And ito yung sad na na-realize kong trend na parang yung acceptance sa atin, yung tolerance sa atin sa bansang to, okay, it's a step above the others. Hello, ilang countries pa ba? I think there's around 80 countries kung saan illegal pa rin to be attracted to the same sex. You can be jailed, you can be minsan may punishment, may corporal punishment pa rin. I think I don't wanna name countries na lang, pero recently may nakita ko yung public flagging, yung hinahampas sila from behind dahil they were caught in relation with the same sex, 'di ba? So to be fair, it's a step above that, and we have to thank the LGBT our ancestors, the LGBTQ communities of ages ago, who really started the fight towards more acceptance. Pero ayun, going back, makikita mo kasi very conditional. Very conditional pa rin yung acceptance. Very hot topic ngayon sa Twitter yung I think recent BL dating show na ng Black Sheep ganon na pinapunuputakti ngayon kasi makikita mo dito na conditional in a sense na kailangan attractive ka muna bago ka i-accept. Kailangan gwapo ka muna, ganon. Gwapo in a sense na in a masculine way, 'di ba? Kung makikita mo kasi sa social media, ang daming heart reacts kapag yung mga nag-viral na post na, uy, mag-boyfriend sila, very supportive, akala mo supportive. Pero kung makikita mo may nag-trend na femme yung isa, tas mask yung isa, magtatanong sila na sana all, gano'n, oy, anong ginayuman niya dyan, gano'n, anong pinakain niya dyan, di ba? So, nakakasad na ganun pa rin yung nakikita natin sa social media and even in real life. And going back sa kanina, dun sa dancing category, dancing competition, na parang acceptable ka lang kapag femme, kapag trans, ganon, acceptable ka lang kapag nakakatawa ka. Alam mo yon, okay, tanggap kita, ganon. Pero kapag lang maganda ka, kapag lang gwapo ka, kapag lang nakakatawa ka, kapag lang matalino ka, ganon. Makikita mo yan sa mga sinasabi nila na, uy, matalino sana tong batang to, kaso bading, gano'n. Yung mga gano'n na nakakarinding bakinggan. And ang sad kasi parang hindi tayo nagpo-progress from dati. And people think it's okay na enough na natanggap ko sila. Hindi ko sila binabato ng bato, na hindi ko sila report sa police, gano'n, hindi ko sila kinukulong. Pero ayun, I long for the day talaga na unconditional na yung pagtanggap. Kasi hindi naman, it's not far-fetched. Other countries have done it. And even within the Philippines, other communities have done it. Bakit hindi natin mapakalat pa sa buong bansa natin and sa mga friends natin na in our own periphery? Ayun.
Gusto ko lang pong i-mention kasi ako po personally, feel ko po yung perception sa akin, like, it's really po based on media. So like, I myself na yung personality ko before, like, oh my gosh, ngayon na-realize ko po na I do it for the applause siguro po. Parang
Do you feel like it's a performance?
I guess before, siguro like, po yun, parang a way na makuha ng acceptance yung iba. Pero ngayon, myself, like, alam ko na talaga na, ito talaga yung expression ko. So like, parang, in a way, like, parang, hinlin ko na ulit na, kaya ganito yung ginagawa ko, like, parang, I'm always fun, ganyan. So, sana, sa mga nanonood na, I guess, like, people younger than me na, hindi sana kayo ma-force na kung ano kayo dahil lang sa sinasabi ng iba, and parang, ma-accept naman kayo kahit ano pa kayo, kahit sino man kayo, yes.
Grabe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Siguro tissue ba tayo?
Breathe ka muna. Pero siguro add ko na lang, parang, ayun nga po, ang unfortunate lang po ng double standards because like, if you're straight, you can just exist. Like, sure, there are things na but like for people who are part of the community, there's always that need to parang prove na you deserve that acceptance and love from others. That's so wrong. Parang kung iisipin mo, like, we're all just people, so anong kailangan? Bakit sila may special cases pa na they have to act a certain way or have certain achievements just for you to acknowledge their presence? Parang, ang unfortunate ako na.
Actually, can I add? Actually, tama yan, Denise. Oo, hala, very personal. Medyo na-hit ako ng bakit nga ba ako nasa medyo? bakit nga ba ako trying to excel, 'di ba? Pero kasi it comes from ano rin, feel ko 'yan kasi even at a very young age, na-ingrain sa akin growing up na I need to be something more dahil bading ako. Ayun. Like yung mantra ko na nga is sorry, baka ma-offend or ma-hit yung ibang tao, pero lagi, ang sad, pero I wanna hug my younger self, like thinking about it now, pero lagi, like sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, bading ka na nga, magpapakabobo ka pa ba? Ganon. Ang sad na ganon yung mindset ko before, di ba? And, yeah, and I mean, na-achieve ko everything that I am right now, everything that I've achieved is probably I have to thank my younger self for that. But I just wish na kaya ko siyang puntahan, kaya ko siyang i-hug na parang pwede ka magpahinga, you can take it easy, na you can take the pressure off na you don't have to be something just because akala mong hindi ka enough because of what you are. Ayun. Thank you for that reminder. Yes.
So, ito naman po. Meron ka pa bang comment? Sige, meron
Gusto ko lang sabihin. Sana po na, ayun nga po, like, sana hindi po naging ganun yung motivation nyo before. Pero it's really like generational in a way. And for the people watching na, bakit kami, kailangan pa namin maging mother in our own ways, pero yung other people pwedeng maging mediocre. So, sana wag.
Ano naman?
Disclaimer po. Hindi po kayo.
The people who are doing it. Not everyone. So, yes. So, ayun lang naman.
So, ayun po. In your opinion po, ano yung state ng activism with regards to LGBTQ plus people fighting for their rights na dapat kanila naman po talaga yun at i-grant na?
Ayun, thank you for that actually. Speaking of, 'di ba, yung sinasabi nga natin na if you've heard in the news, yung pinupush ngayon na SOGI Equality Bill na pinupush ni Senator Risa Hontiveros sa Senate and former Dinagat Island Sheriff Kakabag-Aw sa House of Representatives. That has been, nakasalang na yan 18 years ago or more. I think around 20 years na siya ngayon. And until now, hindi pa rin siya mapasa-pasa kasi malaki yung mga kalaban natin. There are big entities, big institutions that are really stopping the progress in this country. I don't wanna name drop, pero ayun, a certain Senate President, sabi nga niya, hanggat Senate President ako, hindi yan papasa sa Senado, ganon. And it's sad na ganon yung motivation nila, and it's sad na ganon sila convinced within themselves. And makikita mo na, although we're very grateful sa decades and generations of LGBTQ plus activists na dumaan na sa Pilipinas, and we've seen their contributions. For me kasi medyo kulang pa rin yung support, like from the community itself. Ayun, like I don't wanna be a hypocrite naman. Ako, naging active lang naman ako recently lang din. I think nung start ng medical school, ganon, towards the end ng college. Nung first year, ako manay ko ba kung ano yan, ganon. Siyempre, hindi pa ako part niyan. Pero as people who have stakes in this, nakasalalay dito yung future natin. And not just ourselves, you have to think of the children. Think of the children. You have to think of the next generations of LGBTQ plus children. We don't want them to live through the same discrimination and through the same hardships that we've experienced. So, regardless sana on what your status is right now, kung out ka man or hindi, we need your help. We need your help, like, even in the smallest sense na make sure lang na open ka, make sure lang na kung may lalapit sa'yo na ready ka to support. Kasi even allies, even allies natin na hindi naman members ng community, ang laki ng contribution nila. Ikaw pa kaya na member ng community that would benefit sana kung mapapasa itong mga legislation na to? Not just nationally, pero we can even start local. Very lucky yung sa Quezon City. Sobrang progressive nila. Shout out kay Mayor Joy. This is not an endorsement, pero shout out kay Mayor Joy. Recently, parang may pinupush silang something about if long-term partner ka, if long-term same-sex partner ka, may may right ka na sa health concerns ng partner. Kasi 'di ba before, yun yung isa sa mga pinupush, kaya nga pinupush yung civil union, 'di ba? Kasi kapag nagkasakit yung hindi nga papapasukin kasi hindi ka naman pamilya, ganon. Kapag namatay, yung mga pag-aari saan napupunta, ganon. Those are the big legal things na kailangan nating pag-usapan. And I'm glad na Quezon City talaga and other places in our country, I think even Baguio City may anti-discrimination ordinance na. Manila, I'm not sure kung updated. Ayun, pero pinaka-progressive talaga. Credits to Mayor Joy na they're really great strides with regards to that. And full credits sa mga activists who've been working with politicians, lobbying for these reforms, lobbying for our rights. Ayun. So, this is sana an invitation na regardless kung member ka ng community or kung ally ka, people need your help. People, at the very least, need to know na malalapitan ka nila, na you are a safe space that they can confide in you. Ayun.
Thank you po for that update sa activism. Given your experience and background as an LGBTQ plus ally, how do you deal with peers na iba ang paniniwala pagdating sa LGBTQ plus people? Hihingi din po sana kami ng advice sa inyo, how the youth such as ourselves can politely respond to a situation where there are opposing opinions, lalo na with people close to us or older than us.
Ayun, true. That's a very big struggle for everyone in the community, for our advocates na kasi lagi may pushback. Recently may very big win kami sa organization kasi na-publicize na ng UP-PGH yung ating sexual and gender minority clinic na caters to actually generally sexual health problems, pero there's a special focus on trans health kasi doon. Ayun, so parang syempre very happy kami doon kasi that's been our advocacy for the longest time. Ako as chairperson, that's my main thrust for my term. Tapos titingnan mo yung mga comments na na parang, ay, bakit yan yung fino-focus ng gobyerno natin, ganon. Like, bakit dyan napupunta yung tax? So, sobrang sad na parang, alam mo yon, even at this day and age, may mga ganong tao pa rin who hide behind anonymous accounts, ganun. Sometimes, minsan outright pa yung discrimination nila sa'yo. And, on a pacifist, from a viewpoint of a pacifist siguro, ideal siguro if you see where they're coming from, ganon. Ano ba yung state nila? Like, have they been exposed to LGBTQ causes, ganon. Baka it comes from a place of ignorance nga lang, as we've talked about before, na hindi lang sila maalam na ganito yung lifestyle, ganito yung sitwasyon, hindi na tulad ng dati. They don't have to be afraid anymore. They don't have to be full of hate anymore. You can talk to them on a very understanding way siguro. Pero at the end, parang you have to ask then yourself, are you in the proper headspace ba to deal with that right now? Kasi that can be very traumatizing, that can be very triggering for someone who've experienced discrimination before, na you want them to learn sana, pero ikaw kasi pagod ka na, alam mo yun. And why, ang dami nagsasabi na, why is it my job to educate people, ganon. Google is free, ganon. I mean, personally, I think it's still beneficial, like in the grand scheme of it all, to advocate for better knowledge, better understanding among ourselves. Pero, prioritize yourself then. Think na, ano bang makukuha ko? Kung anonymous account lang to, baka hindi naman to makinig, baka i-block lang ako, di ba? Ayun. So, hanapin mo muna kung meron kang lakas, kung meron kang energy to deal with that. Kung meron, good for you. And then, now you can start the work. Pero you have to think then it takes a lot. Hindi lang siya isang conversation na magsiswitch sila bigla na, oh, after mo silang kinausap, okay, ally na ako. Hindi. Hindi. A lot of them, generational, a lot of them, deeply ingrained yung pagiging homophobic, pagiging transphobic nila. So you have to understand that things are just the way they are. You can do something about it, and you can trust the movement is doing something about it. Pero you check mo na lang, save yourself from the emotional turmoil. Kasi ako personally, I've tried that, like attack dog na parang, no, ganito yan, ganon, bakit ka ganyan, this is our right, ganon, in other countries, ganito, ganyan. Pero, at the end of the day, ako parang, nafe-feel ko na ako yung napagod. Ako yung parang hindi makatulog sa gabi na, sorry lang, parang bakit ko ba hinarap ka yun, ganon. Kasi hindi ako sure kung nabago ko ba yung isip niya, 'di ba? Be understanding siguro. Pero ako, personal tip, be more understanding towards yourself. Ayun.
So yun, grabe. Very insightful. Pero ito, medyo na-cover naman po na to. Pero tatanong ko na lang rin po. How do you think na how we can be like mabuting advocate sa mga LGBTQ plus people po? Like, sa paanong paraan po kaya kami makakagawa ng malaking impact dito?
Okay, very malaking impact agad. Okay. Yes. Come on, girl. Okay. Well, it's nice that you have this energy. Like, even just asking these questions, maybe not outright, pero internally tinatanong mo, how can I help ba? How can I, be proactive lang with the causes. May mga push tayo, may mga signatories tayo, may mga events tayo that aim to support the community, ganon, aim to support the passing of legislation that protects their rights, ganon. So, I guess, medyo sad. Hindi naman sad, pero medyo weird. Pero actually, sometimes, if it comes from an ally, medyo mas malaki yung impact. Alam mo yun? Kapag nag-share sila ng post na, gano'n, nakikita na hindi lang pala members ng community yung pwedeng mag-share nito. Yung mga nakikita nyo na sa Facebook na, if you're gay, lesbian, bi, or trans, gano'n, know that this is a safe space, that I am a safe person. Yung mga share if you're ganon. I mean, for me personally, ang corny nun, di ba? I mean, as someone na medyo corny siya. Pero, malay mo kasi meron ka palang tao sa friend list mo na hindi alam na safe space ka pala, or naghahanap ng person that they can confide in. Like, even, start siguro sa friend group mo. If may nafe-feel ka na someone who needs support, regardless kung member ng community or not, always be open, always have an understanding mind and an open heart to listen to their situation, to their struggles, ganun. Kasi it really means a lot, and it can save lives. It really can save lives kasi very ang sad kasi until now, very high risk pa rin for mental health issues, ganon, ang ating mga members ng community. Kasi nga, with the discrimination and with the problems na iniisip nila, na matitirhan pa ba ako bukas, if ever ma-out ako bukas, ganon. Ayun. Less siguro sa mga big, good na thank you for being proactive in that. Pero the small steps that you can do, that everyone can do. Kasi kapag small steps, alam mo yon, ang dali niya. And ang dali mo influence sa ibang tao. Like, many people doing small things can lead to big changes talaga. And that's something we're expecting sana from everyone na ma-emulate nila in the near future. Ayun. Para alam mo yun, it's at the baseline kasi it comes from empathy talaga. It comes from caring for one another, di ba? Hindi ka magkakamali kung nag-aalaga ka for that person and may respeto ka sa kanila. Ayun.
Okay. Thank you so much po for your many inputs today. Marami po kaming natutunan mula sa inyo. For our final question, Miss Universe alam Michelle D? Paano nyo po gusto ma-envision ang Pilipinas in the future in terms of the status ng LGBTQ plus people?
Very very idealistic. Envision ba? Are we being realistic right now? Ganon. Ako ideally sana makikita natin a Philippines that is very free from discrimination, very free from abuse, very free from the fear na hindi ka matanggap ng mga kaibigan mo, ng pamilya mo. Ganon. A Philippines kung saan the children are free to choose and free to live who they want to be. 'Di ba? Na wala na sanang batang mag-iisip pa na kailangan kong maging ganito dahil bading ako, ganon. Kailangan kong maging ganyan dahil kulang ako, ganon. Hopefully sana the support comes from within the community, the support comes from our allies, the support comes from the government, from the institutions that have the power to make change, 'di ba? You always have to think about, sobrang sad talaga kapag iniisip ko, yung mga like yung mga activists, LGBTQ activists na, Diyos ko, tumanda na nagsimatayan na, hindi pa rin natatamasa yung equality na matagal nilang pinaglalaban. Pinagmarsya pa nila yan, mga 1980s, 1990s, gano'n. Sana hindi masayang yung work na nagawa nila. Kasi the world is moving on. The global community is moving on. They're progressing forward. Bakit tayo sa Philippines naiiwan tayo? Alam mo yon, like I don't wanna be globalist naman na parang whatever they do, we do, di ba? Pero in terms of human rights, kasi LGBTQ plus rights are human rights. They are intrinsic to all of us, regardless if part ka ng community or not. Di ba? So bakit tayo may delay with regards to that? And ang sad kasi we're trying to compromise naman. Lagi may compromise. May sa mga institutions that alam natin na baka hindi super accepting, ganon. Sinasabi natin na you can still be, name drop, you can still be religious kahit gay ka, ganon. May mga churches na accepting naman. Bakit hindi lahat? Saan nanggagaling yung reservation? Saan nanggagaling yung hate? Why can't be like Jesus? Biglang naging ganon. Diba? Oo. Parang, ang sad kasi na everything that we need to know to be a functioning society, nalaman natin nung kinder pa tayo, na care for each other, diba? The be kind, ganon. Bakit habang tumatanda tayo, nawawala yon? It's very sad. And I hope na change will come soon. With our advocates, with our activists who've been working for so long. And sana support from the government who promised, who promised na support from them nung campaign period. Tapos biglang makikita mo ngayon, hindi mo makita sa mga hearing. Wala man lang pa-pub na happy Pride, gano'n. Diyos ko. Ayun, so action from us, action from our allies, action from our family, and demand action and accountability then from the powers or institutions that have the mechanisms to enact the change that we so deserve. Okay, ayun lang.
Okay. Yeah.
That has been a very insightful conversation. So, ayun. Meron ka pa masasabihan?
Wala na. So fun.
This has been Denise.
This has been Charles.
And this is the Pride and No Prejudice podcast.
Ang podcast na walang halong kilig! Yay!